Hey everyone, and welcome to your market update. Today, we're diving deep into gold because something pretty wild just happened that's sending shockwaves through the financial world. We're going to break it all down for you: what's happening, why it matters, and what might be coming next. So let's get right into it. Okay, get this. Gold just absolutely smashed through a major price barrier, hitting a new record high of $3,557 an ounce. Now, this isn't just some small step up. We're talking about a massive leap here, a powerful signal that the game is changing. So the million-dollar question, right? Why now? What on earth is going on? Is this just a temporary bubble, or are we at the beginning of a much, much bigger trend? We've dug in, and it looks like there are three huge drivers pushing gold into, well, totally new territory, and we're about to break them all down. All right, let's kick things off with driver number one, the Fed's pivot. This is all about a huge shift in policy coming out of the U.S. Federal Reserve. And wow, it really doesn't get more direct than this. Fed Governor Waller has come right out and said it. Expect not just one, but several rate cuts pretty soon. For gold, this is basically jet fuel. Think about it. When interest rates go down, holding on to something like a government bond becomes, well, less exciting. That makes gold, which doesn't pay you any interest, look a whole lot more attractive. But hold on, is it really that simple? The market is looking at this and thinking, wait a minute. It's not just about what the Fed is doing, but the big, scary question of why they're doing it. There's this growing fear that maybe something under the surface of the economy isn't quite right. And this right here, this gets to the heart of all the anxiety in the market right now. On one hand, you have data-driven cuts. That's the good scenario, right? It means the economy is healthy and they're just fine-tuning things. But on the other hand, you have politically driven cuts, and that's the one that has everyone worried. If the Fed is just caving to political pressure, it throws their independence into question and could actually lead to a real crisis down the road. So what you've got is this perfect storm brewing. You have the promise of lower interest rates, which is great for gold, mixed with this really deep uncertainty about the real health of the economy. And in that kind of environment, where do you think investors run for cover? Yep, they flock to gold as a reliable store of value. Okay, moving on to our second major driver, global uncertainty. Because it's not just economic policy making people nervous. It's the state of the entire world. Look, the ongoing war in Ukraine is still a huge factor here. With no clear end in sight, it just keeps rattling global markets, supply chains, you name it. That constant instability has investors on edge. And if you want a perfect example of that tension, just look at this recent quote from Vladimir Putin. This kind of statement, it just hammers home how far apart everyone is. For the markets, that's a huge red flag that this geopolitical risk isn't going away anytime soon. And what happens when things get this unstable? It triggers that classic market reaction, a flight to safety. People start pulling their money out of things they see as risky, like maybe some stocks, and they look for a safe place to park it until the storm passes. So what exactly is a safe haven asset? It's basically an investment that you expect to hold its value or even go up when everything else is going haywire. And for literally centuries, the classic go-to example of that has been gold. It exists outside of any one government or financial system. All right, this brings us to our third and, honestly, maybe the most critical driver of them all, a fundamental crisis of confidence in the US dollar itself. So why this crisis of confidence? Well, it's a few things we've already touched on. You've got this questions about the Fed's independence. Then you add in some unpredictable U.S. policies on the global stage, and suddenly you can see why huge investors and even entire countries are starting to actively search for an alternative to holding so many dollars. And this is the part you really need to hear. This isn't just you or me or some hedge fund. We are talking about the world's central banks, the financial arms of entire nations, deliberately moving their reserves away from the dollar and buying up physical gold instead. That is a massive shift. Okay, so we've broken down the why. Now let's talk about the really exciting part. What could happen next? Let's look at the forecast for gold's next targets. First up on the radar for a lot of analysts, a cool $4,000 an ounce. And with the kind of speed we're seeing in the market right now, we could test that level a lot sooner than you might think. And the idea here isn't that it's just going to touch 4,000 and then fall back down. No, the projection is that it's going to establish a whole new floor, a new stable trading range, somewhere between $4,000 and $4,500. And if you look even further down the road, if these big underlying trends continue, this rally could even push gold past the $5,000 mark. I mean, seriously, a few years ago, if you said that out loud, people would have laughed. Today, it's a very, very serious conversation.
All right, let's wrap this up. What's the big takeaway from all this?
So when you boil it all down, it's really about these three powerful forces all hitting at the same time. 1, the Fed is signaling cheaper money is on the way. 2, global conflicts are keeping everyone nervous. And 3, a real crisis of confidence in the US dollar is pushing investors, even central banks, towards the safety of gold. And all of this leaves us with one last really big question. We might not just be watching a commodity price go up on a chart. As the world's most powerful financial institutions start moving away from traditional currencies, could we actually be witnessing the early stages of gold reasserting itself as the new global standard of value? What do you think? Let us know down in the comments. Thanks so much for joining us for this update. If you got something out of it, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it.